Chapter 1, Understanding Diversity. Look around you in the classroom. Do you see anyone who looks exactly like you do? In this chapter, you will learn that people are different from each other in many ways. Not only do they look different, but they might also belong to different regional, cultural, or religious backgrounds. These differences enrich our lives in many ways and also make them more fun. All these different people who come from all kinds of backgrounds and belong to all kinds of religions and cultures help to make India so interesting and so diverse. What does diversity add to our lives? How do India become like this? Are all kinds of difference a part of diversity? Can diversity also be a part of unity? Read this chapter to find some answers. Three children around your age have drawn the figures above. Use the empty box to draw your human figure. Is your drawing similar to any of the others? The chances are that your drawing is quite different from the other three, which you can see are quite different from each other. This is because each one of us has a unique drawing style. We not only don't look exactly like each other, but also differ in terms of the language we speak, our cultural backgrounds, the religious rituals we observe. Fill out the following information about yourself. When I go out, I like wearing dash. At home, I speak in dash. My favorite sport is dash. I like reading books about dash. Now ask your teacher to help. Now ask your teacher to help you check how many of you have similar answers. Is there anyone whose list matches yours exactly? Probably not, but many of you may have similar answers. How many like reading the same kind of books? How many like reading the same kind of books? How many different languages are spoken by the students in your class? By now, you must have recognized the many ways in which you are quite like some of your classmates and other ways in which you are different from them. Making friends. Making friends. Do you think it would be easy for you to make friends with someone who was very different from you? Read the following story and then think about this. I had met I had meant it as a joke. A joke made up for a small ragged boy who sold newspapers at the Janpath crossing at the busy intersection. Every time I cycled the past, every time I cycled the past, every time I cycled past, he would run after me, holding out the English paper and screaming out the evening's headlines in a mixture of Hindi and English words. This time I stopped by the pavement and asked for the Hindu paper. His mouth fell open. You mean you know Hindi? He asked. Of course, I said as I paid for the paper. Why? What do you think? He passed. By he passed. But you look so anxious, he said. You mean you can even read Hindu? You mean you can read even Hindi? Of course, I can, I said, this time a little impatiently. I can speak, read, and write Hindi. Hindi is one of the subjects I study in school. Subjects? He asked. How could how could I explain what a subject was to someone who had never been to school? How could I explain what a subject was to someone? How could I explain what a subject was to someone who had never been to school? Well, it is something. I began, but the lights changed and the honking behind me grew 100-fold, and I let myself be pushed along with the rest of the traffic. The next day, he was there again, smiling at me and holding out a Hindi paper. भैया, he said, आपका अखबार, आप बताइए ये सब्जेक्ट क्या चीज़ है? The English word sounded strange on his tongue. It sounded like its other meaning in English, to be ruled by someone else. Oh, it is just some it is just something to study. I said, and then because the red light had come on, I asked him, have you ever been to school? Never, he answered, and he added proudly, I began working when I was so high. He measured himself against my cycle seat. First, my mother used to come with me, but I can do it all alone. Where is your mother now? I asked. But then the lights changed and I was off. I heard him yell from somewhere behind me. She is in Meerut with. The rest was drowned out. My name is Samir, he said the next day, and very shyly he asked, what is yours? It was incredible. My bicycle wobbled. My name is Samir too. I said, what? His eyes lit up. Yes, I grinned at him. It is another name for Hanuman's father. You know? My name is Samir too, I said. What? His eyes lit up. Yes, I grinned at him. It is another name for Hanuman's father. You know? So now you are Samir Ek and I am Samir Do, he said triumphantly. Triumphantly. Something like that. Something like that. I answered, and then I held out my hand. हाथ मिलाओ, समीर दो. हाथ मिलाओ, समीर दो. His hand nestled in mine like a little bird. I could still feel its warmth as I cycled away. The next day, he did not have his usual smile for me. There is trouble in Meerut, he said. Many people are being killed there in the riots. I looked at the headlines. Communal riots, it blazed. But Samir, I began. I am a Muslim, Samir, he said in answer. And all my people are in Meerut. His eyes filled with tears, and when I touched his shoulder, he would not look up. He was not at the crossing. He was not at the crossing the day after, neither the day after nor ever again. And no newspaper in English or Hindi can tell me where my Samir Do has gone. The lids changed by Poily Sengupta. The lights changed by the Poily Sengupta. Look at this box. Name three ways in which Samir Ek and Samir Do were different. 2. Did these differences prevent them from becoming friends? No. While Samir Ek is more familiar with English, Samir Do speaks Hindi. Although they both are more at home in different languages, they still communicated with each other. They made the effort to do so because this was what important to them. Samir Ek and Samir Do also come from different religious and cultural backgrounds. While Samir Ek is a Hindu, Samir Do is a Muslim. Different religious and cultural backgrounds, such as there are an aspect of diversity. Have a look at this box. Make a list of the festivals that might have been celebrated by two boys, Samir Ek dash, Samir Do dash. Can you think of a situation in which you made friends with someone who was very different from you? Write a story that describes this. In addition to their diverse religious and cultural backgrounds, there are other ways in which Samir Ek and Samir Do are different from each other. For example, while Samir Ek goes to school, Samir Do sells newspapers. Have a look over this. Discuss. Why do you think Samir Do did not attend school? Do you think it would have been easy for him to attend school if he wanted to? In your opinion, is it a fair situation that some children get to go to school and others don't? Samir Do did not have the opportunity to attend school. Perhaps you have noticed that there are several people in the area where you live who are poor and who don't have enough to eat or wear, and sometimes not even a place to live. This difference is not the same as the one we have seen earlier. Here we are talking not of difference but of inequality. Inequality comes about when a person does not have the resources and opportunities that are available to other persons. Inequality comes about when a person does not have the resources and opportunities that are available to other persons. The caste system is another example of inequality. The caste system is another example of inequality. According to this, society was divided into different groups depending upon the work that people did, and they were supposed to remain in those groups. So, if your parents were potters, you could only become a potter, nothing else. This system was considered irreversible. This system was considered irreversible. And because you were not supposed to change your profession, it was not considered necessary for you to know anything more than what you needed in your profession. And because you were not supposed to change your profession, it was not considered necessary for you to know anything more than what you needed in your profession. And because you were not supposed to change your profession, it was not considered necessary for you to know anything more than what you needed in your profession. This created a situation of inequality. You will read more about this and other inequalities in the following chapters. Why does diversity add to our lives? What does diversity add to our lives? Just like Samir Ek and Samir Do became friends, you might have friends who are very different from you. You have probably even you have probably eaten different kinds of food in their homes, celebrated different festivals with them, tried out the clothes they wear, and learned some of their languages as well. Make a list of the food that you have eaten from different parts of India. Make a list of languages besides your mother tongue that you speak at least that you can speak at least one or two words of. Make a list of languages besides your mother tongue that you can speak at least one or two words of. You probably like you probably like reading and hearing stories and adventures about different animals, people, and even ghosts. Perhaps you even enjoy making up stories yourself. Many young people feel happy when they read a good story because it gives them a lot of ideas to make up more stories. People who write stories get their ideas from all sorts of different places. People who write stories get their ideas from all sorts of different places, from books and real life and from their imagination. Some may have lived in forests close some may have lived in forests close to animals and chosen to write of their fights and friendships. Others read real accounts of kings and queens and wrote stories about love and honor. Some dipped into their own childhood memories of school and friends and wrote stories of adventure. Imagine if all the storytellers and writers that you have heard and read so far were forced to live in a place where all people were where where all people were the same where all people wore the same two colors, red and white, ate the same food, maybe potatoes, took care of the same two animals, for example, the deer and the cat, and to entertain themselves played snakes and ladders. What kind of stories do you think they would write? Imagine that you are in a Imagine that you are a writer or an artist who lives in the place described above. Either write a story or draw a picture of your life here. Do you think you would enjoy living in a place like this? List 5 different things that you would miss the most if you lived here. Thank you. The remaining part is discussed in further videos.